I would like to share with you one of the many great jazz educational texts that are out there. It can help in learning how to play, and it can definitely help in teaching. That's how I wound up using it. Jimmy Snidero's Jazz Conception. Jimmy, great alto player. Great. Google him, YouTube him, he's up. And Jimmy has other books out too. But I want to talk about this Jazz Conception series. This is a book for clarinet, and I'll get into the other ones. But basically, when people learn this music, the trend that I've seen, I've been teaching it for over 20 years, I get more and more students who come in who love the way jazz sounds. They're interested in it. They know some scales. They have a couple licks maybe. But when they play, the music just doesn't sound right. It isn't phrased right. It isn't formed right. And if you know the right notes, you know the right scales that fit the chord, or the right chords, or you approach the right chord tones, or however you do the theory end of it, if it doesn't have the right feel, then it's wrong. It doesn't matter that you're playing the right notes. If you're playing the right notes in the wrong way, it's wrong. It's wrong. Done. So, the older players from decades ago, they learned by sound. And Hal Galper, great piano player, in one of his online YouTube clinics, talks about, he just dropped this on a class he was talking to. I thought it was brilliant when he said, a lot of people now are learning by device or technique or an approach. How do you approach music? I'm going to learn pentatonics and plug them in, and where a couple generations ago they learned by sound, where they would just listen to somebody and they would study the solo note for note, nuance for nuance. Very tedious to do that. Or they would listen to someone like John Coltrane forever. It would just be on all the time, in the car, at home, in the basement. Hey, so a lot of students don't listen that way, or they haven't listened that way. They don't have that downloaded. So if I get a student who is interested in this and they're just falling short of how to phrase, how to articulate, these books that Jimmy put out are great. Jazz Conception. And he has books out for different instruments. This is the clarinet book. Yeah, clarinet book. Here's a guitar book, right? There's a trombone book. Trombone. Here's flute book. Here is a trumpet book. Here is, what is this, tenor book? Oh, alto and baritone book. And this is the tenor book. And what Jimmy does with these is he has is a recording that comes with it. All right. So let's say you get the tenor book. Well, who is this? This is Walt, I think. Walt Weisskopf, great tenor player. Okay. Walt is playing. So what's happening is Walt is going to play a solo. These solos are written out. They're simple. They're not really hard solos. They're simple, and they're simple for a reason, because Jimmy wants it to be accessible. Here's a solo. Okay? And what happens is you hear it on the recording, you see it, and Jimmy has a lot of articulations marked in, falls, shorts, staccato, all the articulations the way you would see them in a jazz chart, and you can hear it in a swinging fashion. All of the guys that have played on his recordings are great players. So you don't have a bad recording. You have a great recording. You have a great feel going on. You have great players playing it in tune, all the right stuff. Here's the CD that comes with it. Okay? So, and the other thing, and this is what makes it great also, is Jimmy uses forms of tunes that are standards. He'll use, let's say, The Preacher, or he'll use a solo that's built on Satin Doll, or a solo that's built on Song for My Father, etc., etc. So the forms you learn, or the forms that you're playing the solo on, are all forms you're going to play later if you're learning those tunes. So Jimmy gives you standard forms that are going to be what you use when you get out there, and he gives you a solo that's very attainable with the right feel in it, at a good tempo, played by your instrument, by a great player, with all the proper articulations marked in. So it hits a lot of different fronts, and it's really, really, really good. I've had great success with this because of students coming in not really being able to transcribe, or they can transcribe, but I may give a student a solo to transcribe. It's too hard for them. It's tedious. To transcribe a solo for real, it takes a lot of tenacity. You have to stay on it and do it again and again and again. And until the student really sort of takes the bait and loves this music enough for them to go after a solo on their own, it's hard for them to do transcriptions. This makes it easier. When this came out, this was for a couple students of mine, this was the world to them. It totally opened it up for them. And if you couple it with the tune, so for example, let's say we're going to play this, we're going to play Satin Doll. The person who's taking the lessons is studying the song Satin Doll. All right, let's go to the Satin Doll solo. It's all in the same key, the right keys Jimmy also picked. Learn that solo, play it along with the recording. Along with that, we'll drill the actual tune, Satin Doll, and we'll play the chords and the scales and all that business, but we'll create on it, but we'll use this as a way to create on it too. We'll use this as a sort of a sonic guide, which is kind of what a lot of them are missing. Anyway, this is it. I can go on and on, but these are great. If you're a teacher, you can't beat these. If you're starting out and you need a little help in that area, or maybe you've never transcribed a solo, check it out. And also check out what else Jimmy has. I'm sure he has other stuff out there. He's been doing this for a long time. But these are really, really great. These are great. You won't go wrong. So, Jimmy Snidero, Jazz Conception, Advanced Music. Yeah, Advanced Music. Boom. You won't go wrong. Great stuff.